If you clicked on this video, I think you already know about all the benefits of reading. It's a great way to profit from the knowledge that people have written down in a very condensed way. I read pretty much every day, and when I do, I mostly read on a Kindle. So today I want to tell you about the benefits of reading on an electronic device and why I think the Kindle Paperwhite 2021 is probably the best one to get. Let's get started. Okay, let's start by talking about why it's beneficial to read on an electronic device in general. I think the benefits are pretty obvious. First up, you can carry a lot of books, and for example, I read books not start to finish, but I just start one book, and then when I get interested in a different topic, I might read a different book and then come back to the first one later. And so you don't have to carry like 8, 9 or 10 books when you go on vacation or travel. You can just carry all of them in one device. Next up, you can also share your highlights easily between devices. So I might highlight something when reading on the Kindle, and then later when I take notes about the book, I will have access to the highlights in the Kindle app on my iPad. So in general, it's just way more convenient to read on an electronic device. You can also change the font or font size to your preference. For example, when I read before going to bed, I don't have my contacts in and I have to use a larger font size to still be able to read it. And that's just very easy to do and something that you could not do on a normal book. But why would you get a Kindle instead of an iPad when looking for an electronic reading device? An iPad is more expensive but also a lot more capable, and you can use it for a bunch of different things. So why would you go for the Kindle? Well, I've looked at one study from 2012 that actually found out that in terms of eye strain, it's supposed to be the same between e-ink and LCD displays, which is the type of display used in the iPad. And I really like the iPad mini. I even made a review on it on this channel. But I have to say that just subjectively, I still feel like a Kindle is way easier on my eyes and I can read for longer without getting kind of this a little blurry vision and eye strain from looking at a monitor for too long. So if you're looking for just a reading device, not only is the Kindle way cheaper then, but also just try out if the Kindle display is the same to you as an LCD in terms of eye strain, or maybe you are in the same category as me and you also feel like the Kindle is way easier and more pleasing for the eyes and just less straining in general. Also, the Kindle has crazy long battery life, so I think I charge mine once, maybe every 2 weeks. It's really hard to tell because it's not on a regular schedule. So the battery life is really great. If I take it on vacation, I usually don't have to plug it in ever. And so that's also another upside to the Kindle. It's just like a book where it feels more analog since you don't have to plug it in that often. The only downside to the Kindle display technology is that the display is less reactive. Due to it being e-ink, it takes longer for changes to apply and is not that immediate reaction that you're maybe used to from a touchscreen. So yeah, as I said, just kind of try to figure out which one is nicer for you and then you can decide which is the better device. But if in general, as I said, you're just looking for a reading device, a Kindle is probably the best choice. Also, I think that it can be a great thing that you cannot do anything else on it, so that you know that if you're reading, you're really reading and not like checking social media in between or something like that. You just will have less temptations on a Kindle. Okay, so now that we have established that we want to get a Kindle, let's talk more about the Kindle Paperwhite 2021 that came out last year, but it's still the most recent edition. First up, let's talk about the cons, and for me, one of the biggest cons is that it doesn't have the page flip buttons that you can get on the Kindle Oasis, for example. So the Kindle Oasis has like a wider bezel on one side where you can hold it and then you can flip the pages with buttons. I think that would be a nice thing. I've never actually tried it out myself, but just I think and I can imagine that it will be really comfortable just to hold it in one hand and be able to flip the pages. Also, if you decide to get a Kindle, you will be locked into the Amazon ecosystem. It's very hard to get like third-party ebooks on it and have them sync between your devices in the same way that Kindle ebooks do. It's possible, but they make it a little more complicated. Sometimes they will not be recognized as books, but as like documents instead, and then you maybe won't get the covers or stuff like that. So it can be a bit annoying, and Amazon really tries to lock you in and kind of get you to purchase books directly from them. And also another small downside is that the automatic brightness control for the screen brightness for the backlighting is only in the signature edition, and that is a lot more expensive than the normal model, and I probably wouldn't advise you to get that, except for maybe if you really don't care about the money you spend on the Kindle. And so you will have to always change it manually honestly it's not that big of a deal, but since it's like a less reactive display and not really fun to like change settings on it, I have to say that it would probably be nice to have the automatic brightness control, although I have heard that it's really not that great from some reviews I read on Amazon, so I don't really know. I've never tried it out, but I imagine it would be nice. Okay, so let's talk about the cons, and this will mainly be kind of comparing it to the previous Kindle Paperwhite. My girlfriend still has this one, so I got to shot like some clips comparing the two, and I will not really be comparing it to all the other models. I will just say what are the pros comparing to older editions essentially. Okay, so the biggest one for me is probably that you can now change the color temperature on the display, so you can make it warmer when you're reading at night and like cooler if you're reading in daylight. I know that it's still discussed in science whether or not blue light actually makes a difference, but just from my personal experience, I like to make it a little warmer when I read at night, just because I find it more comfortable. Also, it now finally has a USB-C port, which is so nice because I really don't like micro USB, and I always had to carry like a second micro USB cable with the old Kindle, and now it's really nice to just be able to use USB-C, so that when you have to charge it, which as I said is not really that often, but when you do, it's like usually done with one of the cables you already have with you. Also, in terms of the display, I think that everything just seems a little faster, the pages turn more quickly, and yeah, it just seems a little more responsive than before. And the corners are now rounded, which looks just a little better. It's not a big deal, but it's just nice. And the display is also a little bit bigger, which I really enjoy, but honestly, all of that is not really a big deal. Okay, so let's get to a conclusion. Should you get this Kindle? I would say that if you read a lot, a Kindle in general is going to be a good investment if you enjoy the e-ink technology versus LCD and you really feel the difference in eye strain. And if you want to get a Kindle, I think this is the best one and the sweet spot in the whole lineup right now. The cheaper Kindle, at least in Germany, is not really that much cheaper, and you're not getting the color temperature adjustment. You get a smaller display, and also the display is not like even with the whole bezel, so it's kind of more recessed, which makes it more prone to dust getting in and stuff like that. So you get a bunch of downgrades while really not paying a lot less. The Kindle Oasis, on the other hand, is kind of an older model. It still is better in some ways. As I said, for example, it has buttons to flip the pages, but I still think that it's really not up to date compared to the Kindle Paperwhite, and so I wouldn't get that one either, especially considering that I think it cost about double of what the Kindle Paperwhite cost. And concerning the signature edition of the Kindle Paperwhite, honestly, the increased storage doesn't really matter. Like, you're not gonna run out of storage on a Kindle if you don't use it to read comics. I know that those files can get pretty large, but just talking about books, you can, I think, store like thousands of books even on the smallest storage options, so that's really not a big deal. Essentially what you're getting with the signature edition is only wireless charging and also the automatic brightness adjustment, which are both nice, but I don't think it's worth to pay the premium. Yeah, so overall, as I said, I think this is really like the sweet spot that you should go for in the current lineup. Also, you really have to look for deals on Amazon when there's like a Prime Day or Black Friday. Like, they always have these sale days like multiple times a year now, I think, and the Kindles are always on sale, so that is always the best time to get one if you want to buy a new Kindle. And I would definitely look out for that if you are looking to buy one. And just overall, as I said, I really enjoy this Kindle. I would definitely recommend it, and if you like reading, I would get this exact model because I think it's the best one right now. I'm really happy with this purchase in general, and I think it was definitely worth the money, especially considering that I got it on sale as well. And so yeah, it's just a very nice product to have, and it's not that expensive considering like the prices of other tech. Okay, that's been it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.